Next News, breaking news.
Two rulings, one day. 0 injunctions left standing, and that is the line that just blew up the left's entire border sabotage machine. On June 25th, the Supreme Court dropped back-to-back 6-3 decisions and ripped immigration power out of the hands of a rogue district judge, the Ninth Circuit, and every open border activist who turned court shopping into national policy. Roughly 350,000 Haitians now sit in deportation proceedings with no judge able to hit the pause button. Border turnbacks are back. TPS games are collapsing, and the meltdown from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to New York City bosses tells you one thing. Trump just cracked the legal fortress Democrats hid behind for years. And wait till you hear Stephen Miller's bluntest line. See, this matters because the scam, it never stopped at the border. It hit your town, your wages, your school, your hospital beds, your sense that your own country still belonged to its own citizens, even your cats and your dogs. See, Democrats sold Americans a fraud. Called it temporary protected status. Buried it in lawsuits. Shot for an injunction in San Francisco, then turned temporary into permanent welfare, permanent labor dumping, and permanent demographic language. The Biden administration and supercharged that racket. President Trump just started gutting it. The Supreme Court ruled 6-3. First, federal courts generally cannot review TPS termination calls. Second, if you're standing in Mexico, you've not arrived in the United States under federal law, so you do not get an automatic asylum foothold. That means the metering and turnback authority activist judges froze for years can actually function again across 2,000 miles of border. This is sovereignty or surrender. Trump chose sovereignty. AOC chose cheaper labor. Laura Gillen chose dependency dressed up as compassion, and the country finally gets adults in charge again. See, when Stephen Miller says if you no longer have status in this country, then you're supposed to be deported, he's talking about law, borders, and hard reality. It's exactly how I think about protecting my own future. See, Noble Gold Investments, they get that. Silver is the next oil makes sense because it's critical resource in solar panels, electric vehicles, defense systems, AI infrastructure, and massive data centers. Growing demand keeps building. Yet silver is still affordable, so the average American can start accumulating physical silver and protect against inflation while strategic resources tighten. Go to nextnewsgold.com and see why Noble Gold calls it the metal the future depends on. Mention my name. With a new qualified account, you can receive a 1/10 ounce gold coin. The age of drift, my friends, is over. Now here's the part that should make every sanctuary mayor sweat. DHS General Counsel James Percival didn't hide behind lawyer sludge. He said, "It's closing time. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here." Then he pointed illegals to the CBP Home app. A free flight home and a $2,600 payment to self-deport before ICE grabs them. That's not symbolism, that's machinery. And I'm going to pull up the comments and the tweets. Keep one number in mind. Buckle up. Tom Homan says 10,000 new immigration agents are about to hit the field by the end of the month. Remember this great line?
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
Remember that? Great news for the dogs and cats of Springfield. Trump called the chaos out. Now the Supreme Court handed the administration a real win. The legal piece, the media won't explain why the 6-3 ruling cripples the Ninth Circuit's injunction. Let me tell you what the courts can't stop it means. When SCOTUS says it, because I'm sure most people won't know, it means the Ninth Circuit's done. For years, the Ninth Circuit blocked every TPS termination, every metering policy, every turnback order. Judges in San Francisco, D.C. issued injunctions the same week DHS tried to force anything. That was a strategy, not the law. June 25th, SCOTUS ruled 6-3 in two separate cases, same day, same margin, both times. Case 1, federal courts generally cannot review TPS termination decisions. Case 2, if you're standing in Mexico, you have not arrived, no right to apply for asylum, no mandatory inspection. 350,000 Haitian TPS holders are now in deportation proceedings with no court able to pause it.
And the Supreme Court out with another decision, this time regarding the fate of certain migrants living with temporary protected status. There are a bunch of them, and Shannon Bream joins us again with more. Shannon, how do we read this one?
Okay, so Dana, we read it as a win for the Trump administration, which has wanted to wipe out temporary protected status for more than 1 million people who are living here in this country. These cases centered on a number of Haitian and Syrian refugees who were here in the country. And basically what the court has said is that they can't challenge this decision by the Department of Homeland Security, by the administration, that they're the ones who get to make the assessment about whether they leave or not. I haven't read the whole thing, but they do get into some of the claims that by some of those who are advocating for the Haitian refugees, that there was some kind of racial animus. The court says they don't see evidence of that. So I'll keep reading, but it's another very fractured decision that seems to be a win for the Trump administration, which would be the second win for them on immigration. That earlier decision that we talked about that came out just a few minutes ago saying that if you get to the Mexico border, but you don't make it onto U.S. soil, you can't file an asylum claim. So the Trump administration has to be happy about what they've gotten today. We've still got 8 opinions left, and it looks like Monday will be our next opinion day.
So in just one case, the court smashing the blockade that activist judge used for years, and right on cue, AOC shows up to defend the very system that voters rejected.
What's your reaction to the Supreme Court decisions related to immigration? Republicans are applauding these decisions. What do you think about it?
I think it's really sad because these decisions are targeting exactly the kind of people that Republican voters said that they did not want targeted in the Trump administration's immigration policy. And in fact, this is a reversal of President Trump's promise to only go after quote unquote criminals and rapists. This decision to overturn TPS targets nurses, it targets healthcare workers, it targets domestic workers, cleaners, people who work in restaurants, all the people that we say, hey, listen, I have a coworker and I really like him and he's a good guy. This targets them. And so I think it's a real betrayal of President Trump's promise. And it's also going to be terrible for us as U.S. citizens as well. The prices of things are going to go up. It's going to become increasingly hard to find help. And it also breaks our communities up.
And you heard Republicans many times talk about abuse in the asylum system. What do you think about that aspect of these decisions when it comes to being easier to turn away people for asylum claims at the border?
Listen, that's a totally separate issue. TPS itself is a legal program, and it exists. And, if you think that there's fraud, then go after that. But this isn't about that.
But it's called temporary for a reason, right? So she says this is a betrayal because it hits workers, not criminals. Next, Stephen Miller answers the blunt question the left hates. Should Haitians live in Haiti?
Administration consider Haiti a safe country?
For Haitians, absolutely.
For Haitians?
Yes.
Despite the do not travel warnings?
Yes, yes, Haitians live in Haiti. It's not our position that Haitians should leave Haiti. It'd be crazy for us to say that Haitians couldn't live in Haiti. It's their country. Of course Haitians should live in Haiti. There's no viable asylum, or to use a technical term here, CAT claim, or withholding claim, for any Haitian seeking relief from going back to Haiti, to their homeland. The fact that there might be pockets of Haiti where there's higher crime rates, guess what? There's pockets of Chicago with crime rates just as high, right? There's pockets of cities like St. Louis with crime just as high. Pockets of Los Angeles, crime just as high. It has never been the case that having communities that have high crime rates is a basis for asylum. Never has been, never will be.
So Miller is not hedging. He says if you're from Haiti, that's where you belong. Meanwhile, Democrats are rolling out the emotional pressure campaign, starting with Laura Gillen on Long Island.
We will not relent in securing our Haitian neighbors' safety. Removing them would not just be a humanitarian catastrophe, it would also hurt our economy. Haitian TPS recipients are part of the very fabric of our daily lives and pillars of our economy and our faith communities. They're a fundamental part of our vibrant identity on Long Island, and I'm committed to standing up for their safety and their security.
Meanwhile, back at the White House, Stephen Miller makes the administration's point very clear.
Do you expect the administration to deport anyone who loses TPS status as a result of this ruling?
Well, of course, if you no longer have status in this country, then you're supposed to be deported. And in particular, in the case of the Haitians, the Biden administration flew over vast numbers. It's hard to know the exact number, but probably more than 1 million illegal immigrants from Haiti. That's not counting the border crossings into the United States. So these are people who've only been here for a few months, who are receiving welfare, whose all their ties, all their social connections, all their family is back in their home country of Haiti. And of course, that's where they should go. Yes,
of course, that's where they should go. That's the law. Up next, DHS General Counsel gets pressed into timing, delivers the closing time message that Haitians can't miss.
T in TPS stands for temporary, yet many of these designations go back decades. We have designations from 1998 for Hurricane Mitch that we're still trying to get rid of. But to answer your question, President Trump has been trying to end these programs since 2017. So these people have been on notice for 9 years that this day is coming. So what we would say now is it's closing time, which means you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. The good news is it's not too late to get a $2,600 check and a free flight home.
Closing time. That line says it all. Even Lindsey Graham is admitting the court should side with presidential authority. Supreme Court affirming POTUS, not activist judges, as the authority to enforce immigration laws. The ruling is a major victory for the Constitution, the rule of law, and American sovereignty. So he's celebrating the win, but the left's municipal resistance machine is already revving up, with Mondami promising city-level protection after the ruling.
We saw today the Supreme Court make a decision that is putting so many people's lives in jeopardy. And I just came back from a rally with 1199 as I stood alongside a number of Haitian New Yorkers who are concerned about what this means for their status in our city. And frankly, this city, the one that we love, is one that has been built by so many from so many different parts of the world. And that includes our Haitian brothers and sisters, our Syrian brothers and sisters. And we stand here ready to be in solidarity with all of those who are concerned by today's decision. And beyond just language of solidarity, actions of solidarity. Now, what that means when it comes to our city is if you are worried about what this means for your status, if you're worried about what this means for your family, I would encourage you to call our Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs hotline. And you can do so at 1-800-354-0365. Again, that's 1-800-354-0365. Now, many of you know this is a city of 8.5 million people. More than 3 million of us were born elsewhere. I'm one of them. We're a city that's proud of our immigrant heritage.
Shut up.
And
so while the Supreme Court blocks enforcement, Mondami is talking about shielding people. Mike Davis says out loud what Americans are thinking about the difference. Defiance. Let's get this straight. The foreign-born leader of our nation's largest city, elected largely by foreign-born non-citizen states, he's going to stop federal law enforcement from enforcing federal law, even after a Supreme Court ruling. He calls this seditious conspiracy and insurrection. So he says it's more than a resistance. The administration's answer is simple: more manpower, with Tom Homan announcing 10,000 new agents.
The record historic year with deportations, but now we got 10,000 more agents on board, or it should be on board by the end of next month. Wait till next year.
Wait till next year, baby. So Homan putting legal immigrants and their enablers on notice. Enforcement is about to scale. DHS sums up the ruling in one sentence: not tired of winning. Temporary protected status is meant to be temporary. And now we have this. Winning, baby. So much winning. And this is exactly what a lot of Americans are thinking. It's over. It's over. Go home. So the moral center of the whole fight came from Stephen Miller, and he delivered it without a syllable of apology for Haitians. Absolutely, Haitians live in Haiti. There it is. Clean, brutal, and true. For years, activist judges, the Ninth Circuit, and Democrat operators like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the bartender, tried to turn common sense into cruelty and lawbreaking into virtue. You saw her. She'd go on camera and whine that prices will go up. It'll get harder to find help. She said the quiet part out loud. The Democrat model depends on imported dependency and suppressed American bargaining power. The New York radicals started blasting a city hotline after the Supreme Court ruled against them, practically advertising obstruction. Trump restored constitutional authority. The left answered with panic, cheap labor pleading, and municipal resistance. They lost the law, so now they wave sabotage in public. Remember Springfield. Americans watched the chaos in their own communities, spoke up, and got mocked by the regime press for noticing what was right in front of them. The Haitians were eating their dogs and their cats. Now the same ruling class panics because President Trump, Stephen Miller, Tom Homan, and the Supreme Court finally slammed the brakes on the endless delay machine. TPS means temporary. It never meant a lifetime claim on American neighborhoods, American benefits, and American political patience. So use the rulings. Use the turnback authority. Use the CBP home app and use the deportation machinery. And if a mayor, a city agency, or a hotline operator tries to shield people, the highest court just said it can be removed. Name them and hammer them. And drop your take below. Should ICE start with the cities openly signaling resistance like New York? Share this with the one person still trapped in the lie that activist judges run America. Well, not anymore, because Donald Trump does. And I want to make sure you stay on the inside track. I've read your comments. I understand. I understand your frustration. That's why I specifically set this number up. And thousands of patriots are already benefiting from it. I want to make sure you benefit too. Just text the words raw feed to 844-840-4963. Get the notifications that YouTube never sends direct from me right to your phone every night. And make sure you check out the merch shelf below this video. Celebrate the wins with the Next News Network by going to shop.nextnewsnetwork.com.
The system controls information. Information control is power.
They don't want you to see this.
The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now.